Okay, very good. 3, 2, 1, go. How's my hair looking? Who cares? Hey folks, this is Rack James from ORS Racks Direct in Vermont. Today I'm going to demonstrate the T2 Classic hitch-mount platform style bike rack from Thule, the 9044, 9045 models. So the 9044 is right here. It's the T2 Classic for 2-inch hitches. The 9045 fits 1.25-inch hitches. And there's a 9046, which is a 2-bike add-on, and that is only compatible with the 9044 for 2-inch hitches. So this is very similar to the older model T2, but there are some changes, so we'll take a look at those right now. First we're going to do is install it onto this F150. Show you how easy it is to install. In this position you can just grab this tray right here, hoist it up, you know, and just guide it into the receiver. Now what we need to do is get that hole lined up with the hole on the receiver. So you can kind of get it started, you know, so that it's stable, and then you'll crouch down and insert the hitch pin. Now the hitch pin that they include in this is the locking hitch pin with the snug tight lock accessory. So it's basically a hitch bolt that has threads on it, and those threads are going to tighten into a welded nut on the inside of the stinger to remove the wobble. This little part is going to stick through the other side, and then the lock housing goes on to prevent you from removing it. So it's a theft deterrent, and a pretty good one. All right, so you can kind of eyeball it, and I did a pretty good job. That is pretty much there, but just kind of give it a little jiggle. There we go. And then start threading it in by hand, and until it's snug. Now, if this didn't have the threads and was just like an old style hitch pin, you know, the rack isn't going to slide out, and usually there would be like a cotter pin on the other side, but you can see how much play there is, and that wobble is pretty problematic. The bikes really get jostled a lot. So by having those threads, and here's the provided wrench, when you tighten that hitch pin in, it really takes away that wobble. And then again, it's a locking hitch bolt, so you put the snug tight lock housing on there, and you lock it. So that's not coming off, and you know, even though you can back it away, you're not going to be able to get it out all the way. So this thing is locked to the vehicle. All right, now that it's in stowed position, that's a good position for when you're not using it. So it gets it out of the way, you know, so you can back into the garage or parallel park a little bit easier. But when you're ready to load bikes, then you put it into loading position. And to do that, you got to reach back and grab this little gray lever right here, pull it up, and the whole platform comes down nice and level with the ground. Now that we've got it in load position, let's take a look at some of the features and some of the other things that sets this apart from the older version. First off are the wheel cradles. So with the older 916 XTR, the wheel cradles would only fit up to about a 3-inch wide tire. Well, now fat bikes are really popular, gaining popularity. Tires are up to 5 inches wide. So these wheel cradles can accommodate 5-inch wide fat bike tires, and it's also got this channel right here to accept a narrow road bike tire, like a 20C even. So this can accommodate all the way down to a really skinny road bike tire up to a really wide fat bike tire. So that is a really nice improvement over the 916 XTR. The way that these trays attach, they can be adjusted. So you see these little lines on here. If you loosen these bolts, you can slide the trays all the way as far as that line or that line in either direction. That's basically so you can offset the bikes if you were to have some contact issues between two bikes that you carry often. You know, in other words, sometimes maybe the handlebars of one will hit the saddle of the other. So rather than having to like lower the seat every time, you can kind of offset it a little bit. Other than that, the only other difference between the new T2 Classic is that they've taken away the retractable locking cable that used to pull out of here to lock the bike into place. Instead, now you just have the wheel hook itself can accept a Thule lock core. So once the bike is loaded, when you ratchet it down to the tire, you can lock this into place so it can't be moved, and it effectively locks the bike into the rack. So let's load this thing. So the easiest way to load it is to push the wheel hook all the way to the top of this arm, move it out of the way, open up, and I'll just push this down since we're not loading over there. open up your wheel strap. Now, this wheel strap is pretty cool. Right now, it's actually adjusted for like a standard tire. Because we have a fat bike, this is not going to be long enough. So to adjust it, all you got to do is you take off this little rubber protector and you pull the strap out of here. You can see how long it is. And then there's a second position for it. You just thread it through the back, and now you've got a strap that's nice and long, and that's going to have no problem accepting that big fat bike tire. All right, so to load, I'm just going to tuck that under the other tray just to kind of keep it out of the way. And here we go. We got a fat bike right here. Best way to load, grab the seat tube. You can grab the fork or you can grab the stem. Pop it down onto the tray. And right off the bat, you can see why platform styles are just easier to load than a hanging style hitch rack. You just place the bike in the tray, roll this arm up and over the tire, and you want to put that wheel hook down on the front tire right in front of the fork. Now this is a disc brake bike, so there isn't a brake in the way. If there is like a V-brake or a caliper brake, you just place it as close to the caliper or V-brake without really touching it, and it's fine. And you ratchet this down onto the tire. So that's how easy it is to load. The one limitation is if you have a fender on the front wheel, it's not recommended that you use it because you have to ratchet it down. It's just not very stable to ratchet it down onto a fender. It can break the fender. And if the fender were to break during transit, if you hit a good bump, then you could have some more play and your bike could, who knows, pop out. So really not recommended to use fenders. All right, once we got that engaged, then we just adjust our wheel strap. The wheel cradle kind of centered under the rear axle of the bike. This little rubber protector goes against the rim, and then it's just a ratchet strap. Pull it down. That thing is nice and stable. Again, the lock core goes right there to lock this arm in place. So when it's locked, you can't push this button to release it. When bikes are loaded, you can gain access to the hatch of a vehicle by tilting the whole platform down. So again, first thing you got to do, we're going to use this lever again, but there's a little safety pin here. You got to pull that out first, and then just let it hang from this little tether. And then you got to pull this lever. Now, here's where it's a little, you just got to find the best way to do it. The way that I would do it is just kind of move this pedal out of the way so I've got a clear access to the handle, support the frame, go in there and reach it and release it, and then it's just going to start coming down, and you just let it down until it's tilted that far. And you'll notice I just bonked my nose on the top tube, so that's just a skill you develop. The T2 Pro model, by the way, and watch for a video for that, the lever is located in the front, so you don't have to reach. It's a really nice upgrade to the newer model, but anyway, functionality is still very good. And now if we were to have like a hatch on like a SUV or a wagon, the hatch door can open with the bikes loaded. So that's a nice feature. All right, now we're gonna bring this guy back up, and it clicks into place. And then of course make sure that you put that pin back in. Oops, wait a second. There we go. And there we go. All right, excellent. So there it is. That's the new T2 Classic, the 9044 for 2-inch hitch, which accepts the 9046 2-bike add-on. There's also the 9045 T2 Classic for 1 1/4 inch hitches that does not accept the 2-bike add-on. All right, great. So I'm gonna go put ice on my nose. But as always, thanks for watching. I'm Rack James from ORS Racks Direct. Take care.